Hello and welcome. Whether you are a small business owner with a subscription service, a freelancer with monthly retainers, an e-commerce platform manager, or an IT professional looking to optimize billing, managing recurring payments can be a challenge. Manual methods can be error-prone and inefficient. Today, we are diving into a structured solution to address these challenges. This video will cover three main sections. The first one is setting up a subscription product on the Stripe dashboard. We'll guide you through the initial steps on Stripe to ensure you are ready for the automation process. The second one is the overview of the solution on Google Sheets. A visual representation of how the solution integrates with Google Sheets, making the billing process seamless. The third part is the technical walkthrough. For our tech-savvy viewers, we'll delve deep into the technical aspects, ensuring you grasp the intricacies of the solution. Before we dive in, for those who prefer a written guide, there is a detailed blog post linked in the video description. And for hands-on implementation, the code and Google Sheet template are available for you to use. And of course, if you encounter any challenges or have questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section below. At Apptiva, we specialize in automating manual time-consuming processes and integrating external APIs with a strong focus on the Google Workspace. If you have a project or idea in mind, we are here to help. So don't wait, get in touch. So we are now on our Stripe dashboard and we want to create our first test subscription product. So first of all, make sure that you have set your Stripe dashboard, your Stripe account on test mode on the upper right corner. And once we do that, let's go to products. As you see here, I already have a subscription product, but we're gonna now create a new one. So let's do add product. I'm gonna call it Stripe subscription product. I don't need a description. So let's press on next. And now we have to set it on recurring, as you see here. And the amount is going to be, let's say, 20. The billing period is going to be monthly. So we have one amount set, one price set to 20. And we're going to do add product, and our product has now been created. So let's start with an overview of our solution. So as you see, we have a Google Sheet as mentioned, and this has two tabs. The first tab contains the customer data that we are going to fill in, which includes full name, email, address, country, city, postal code. And then we also add the duration of the subscription that we want to create for this customer, any trial period in days, if we want to do it more specific. And this is the monthly amount. The monthly amount has to be already set up in our Stripe dashboard, in our Stripe created product, because otherwise this won't work. So, and then we also have our settings. In our settings, we do have our Stripe API key. What you need to do is you enter it here once, you press on set API key, so that it is stored in the script properties and it's not visible here for security reasons, and then you delete it. So I'm going to delete it now. And then you have to get the code, like the ID of the selected product. And we're going to see now how this is done. So we are now on our Stripe dashboard, and we have to go to products, and we have to select the product that we are talking about. So this Stripe subscription product. Once we are in our product details, we have to go to the address bar here, and what we need is this code. This code refers to our product, and this is the code that we have to fill in our Google Sheet. So now that we have already also added the selected product, we can also add the default trial period in days. It's up to you, how many days this will be. Now let's see exactly how the solution works. So we have this Stripe button here and a create subscription menu item. Once we press this, the script does the following. It goes through our sheet and finds all entries that do not have a subscription status, that the subscription status is blank. And for each of those records, it does the following things. So it creates the customer in Stripe, in the Stripe dashboard. It sets the subscription for the newly created customer. It sends an email, a checkout link, a payment link to the customer for him to pay, and then it updates the subscription status in the sheet. It sets it to created and also adds the subscription ID on our Google Sheet. So now let's see this in action. If I press on create subscriptions and wait a bit, I will see that the subscription has been created and I also have the subscription ID. So let's go to Stripe, to the dashboard, and verify that both our customer and the subscription were created. So now I am on Stripe, on the dashboard and on the customers tab, more specifically. So as you see, the customer was created and the customer hasn't paid anything, but has been created. And now what we want to do is check whether the subscription was created as well. So let's see that. So in order to do that, I'm going to billing and subscriptions. And I will see that there is actually a customer and a subscription that has been created. And if I see the details, I will see that it started today, it ends on February 17th, and also that the payment is due on October 22nd because of the trial period that we have set. The trial period was set to 5 days, and this is why the payment is due on October 22nd, and this is also when the actual subscription starts after our trial. So now let's check our email to see that we received the payment link. As you can see, we have an email saying, "Dear Dimitris Vaxinos, please complete your subscription set up by clicking here." If I click here, I'm going to be transferred to the checkout page where I have to enter my credit card details. I'm going to use the test credit card of Stripe. It doesn't really matter what I'm going to enter here. And now I'm going to press subscribe. And I'm going to return to the page that I have set as my redirection URL. We will see exactly how this works on the code during the code walkthrough. So now if we go back to our subscription page, we will see that the subscription is actually now active and the flow has been completed. So we saw also in action how exactly this Google Sheet automates the process of creating the customer, setting up the subscription, sending the payment link, and updating the status of the Google Sheet in the Google Sheet. And now let's dive into the more technical details of the solution. So before starting with the walkthrough, the technical walkthrough, I'm just reminding that there is also a blog post for this exact project, and that the complete source code can also be found on GitHub. Please have a look at the video description to find the link to the blog post and the code on GitHub. So here our code is actually divided into 3 modules, 3 parts. I like to use a more modular approach and have like independent components that can be reused across different projects. This is the approach that I used for this project as well. So we have like 3 files. The first one is the local settings. This is a class that is responsible for creating our settings tab and also getting or setting any of the settings in this tab as well. I won't get into the details of the settings class because we have created a separate video just for that you can also find in the description, in the video description below. So now let's move on to the Stripe API client. The Stripe API client is responsible for handling various Stripe operations. So this is also a separate component. You can just take the class and use it in a different project. The only thing that you need in the constructor is the API key. So let's see very briefly a couple of methods that we're also going to use later. First method is the make request. The make request method is actually the one that's being used by all other further methods. It includes the headers, like the API key and everything, and also is responsible for sending the request, getting the response, and deserializing the JSON response. Second method, create customer, which is quite straightforward. We take the name, email, address, country, city, and postal code, and we create a new customer in Stripe. Next method, create subscription. This method takes the customer ID, the ID of the customer that we will have created, the duration in months, the trial days in days, and the price ID. The price ID, actually prices are a separate object, a separate entity within Stripe. Every subscription has a list of prices. So this price ID corresponds to the price that we have. We would like to create a subscription for. Create checkout session. This creates the payment link that we are going to send to the customer, and we need price ID, customer ID, payment method type. For us, it's going to be card, and also success and cancel URL. If you remember earlier seeing the complete flow, we saw that after the successful payment, we were redirected to my company's web page. So in your case, you just have to change this redirection URL to the one that you would like to use. And the same happens, the same applies to the cancel URL in case of a failed payment. Last but not least, our getters, like get methods for fetching customers, products, or a specific product, or the prices, something that we discussed earlier. Let's now move to the Xcode file where the main logic resides. I will start with the initialization of the separate components, the settings, and the Stripe client that we're going to use for the rest of the file. Then we will move on to the onOpen that initializes the settings. Initialization means that the object checks if there is already a settings tab in our Google Sheet, and if it's not, it creates it. Then the Stripe menu is being created together with the Create Subscriptions menu item. So we have three basic methods that we're going to go through in this Xcode file. The first one is the subscribe customer, which, as the method name says, it subscribes one specific customer, which is like one row in our Google Sheet. And this takes customer object as a parameter, a product ID, and a default trial period. So let's go through the flow of the method. So we have like the creation of the customer here, where we're using the create customer method from our Stripe client. Then we check if the customer is there, was successfully created. If not, we're just interrupting the execution of our script. And then we get the product data. We check again if the product exists, because in case we have misspelled our product ID or we deleted it or something, then the script shouldn't continue with its execution. And then if we have found the product, then we get the price, as we discussed earlier. So if the price is found on the product, then we can proceed. And this is where we define the trial period. If you remember, we had a default trial period in our settings file. If the trial period on the customer's row is empty, then we will use the default trial period. Otherwise, our trial period, the trial period of the customer row, will override the default trial period. And now let's move on with the creation of the subscription, where we're creating the subscription for the specific customer. If the subscription has been created successfully, then we move on to the creation of the checkout session. Here is the place where you can replace the redirection URL according to the needs of your project. And then once this has been done successfully as well, then we send out the checkout link, and then we update the row with the status created and the ID of the subscription. One more thing to note is to go through is the send checkout link method, where the creation of the email that is sent to the customer takes place. So you can like modify the method here in order to adjust the text to your needs. Now let's move on to the subscribe customers method. Here it's more of an orchestrating method, to be honest, because it first checks, gets the settings from the settings tab, and then checks if all the the required settings are there. If not, the script is being interrupted, and we get an alert saying that we have to fill in the required information in order for the API to proceed. And then the heart of the method is this part, where we fetch all customers from the sheet, we iterate through them, and we execute the subscribe customer only for the ones that are not subscribed. And closing, I would only like to mention that there is a generic try catch block, which is sufficient for the purpose of this tutorial. But if you want to, you can, feel free to modify it accordingly. Or if you have any question, just let me know in the comments section below. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video and you find this solution useful for some of your projects. If you have any question, please just leave it in the comment section below. If you need any help with an automation or an app script project, feel free to reach out. Our contact details are in the video description. And see you in the next video. Thank you very much.